me back to Liberia, where the drums still play my song. Take me back to my homeland. It's the place where I belong.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.
Jefferson, Lavetta,
Yes.
how are you?
I'm okay. How you doing?
It's Friday. It's Friday night. So we are here Friday night. We're not in the club. We are here on Liberia Future TV. How you doing, Lavetta? How was the week?
Yeah, the week wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
We get for another weekend.
Yep, we made it through. We made it through. Jefferson, how was your week?
Well, gracefully, it was okay. Thank God. And thank God for the weekend. Though it's going to be a very long weekend up to
Mm-hmm.
Monday.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's good to be here. And we thank God.
I heard you playing my song, Gyra. I love that song. I was singing in the
Yeah.
back.
I saw you in the back and I was like, wow. And I love it so much. It really gave me hope every time.
That is
So I
my
love it.
song. Oh my
Wow.
God. That song, I play it loud and I sing that song when she starts singing about the lily in the valley. Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
a beautiful song. Beautiful
Yeah.
song. So, Lavetta, what do you have for us for news Friday night?
Okay, so it is Friday night. Let me bring you the today's trending news update.
Okay.
Uh, NEC chair David Brown Lasana steps down early.
Mm-hmm.
David Brown appointed by President we are in 2020 announced she will leave office March 15, which is okay, I think Monday. It'll be Sunday, but it'll be celebrated on Monday. It's a holiday. And with one year left in her term, surprising observers after a tour of NEC renovation. Voters blame Bouacar, sad comments. Critics say pressure from President Bouacar's Unity Party government push David Brown Nassana to resign, while arguing an Alexander Cummings administration will safeguard NC independence. Liberia Drugs Enforcement Agency clarifies catch reports. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency said all cash and narcotics from the February 19 Waterside operation, 519 facts plus 19 strips of tramadol. Suspect Boubacar Jallo arrested were handled by procedure responding to question about an alleged 150,000 front. Still wants on Guinean incursion. Civil society groups stand decry Guinean soldiers crossing into Liberia, planting a flag and shooting a civilian, calling the government's response weak and threatening sovereignty. Guinea border tension ease. Information Minister Jerry Limerick PR said Liberia is pursuing diplomacy as calm returns to Lofa's Solumba clan, where Guinean troops crossed the Makona River during a sand mining dispute. Belgian court orders Johnson war crimes trial. An appeal court ruled that Martina Johnson, as commander for Charles Taylor's rebels, must face trial for atrocities during 1992's Operation Octopus, welcomed by victims' advocates. Civil Service launches verification. The CSA began March 9 nationwide credential checks for Ministry of Local Government staff with UNDP support to clean payroll and boost public sector integrity. Lawmaker Lawmaker Ford's in-house plenary was disrupted Thursday when Reps Prince Tools and Luther Collins clashed during debates over inviting Minister Mamaka ability to explain the 2024 Yellow Machines Road Equipment deal. Those were the latest updates.
Oh, wow. That was very good. So the lawmakers got into a physical fight in the
Yeah,
Capitol
yeah,
over the yellow machines.
yeah. The Yellow Machine equipment deal.
Mm-mm-mm. Wow. Well, thank you so much, Lavetta, for the news. We're going to be reviewing the news this week, but your news updates were very good. So we appreciate you. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on Monday with some more good news from you.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. See you on Monday.
Okay. Jefferson, good night.
Okay, Lafetta, good night.
Okay.
So we have this week, there was so much news in Liberia. Every day it was just jumping, 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 jumping. But I want to go back to the beginning of the week. We started out just getting over President Buckeye's cabinet meeting, and there was some really interesting quotes that President Buckeye had at this cabinet meeting. So I want to play one of these quotes for everyone because I like to listen very keenly to what people say. So I want us to listen to what President Buckeye said at his cabinet meeting. Remember, at this meeting, he's just talking. He doesn't have any notes. Nobody prepared any speech for him, like, when the SONA was going on and he had to read it all. This is just him talking off his top of his head. So listen to this, everyone.
Job creation is very important. And you're thinking about investment. They'll go to your house, come to your office, come to this. You have to see them. You're not in a photo mood. They want for you to take photos. It's difficult to tell them when you can't. But as much as we hear about people coming, investors, and everybody bringing them, I don't realize much of it.
So the president, Joseph Buckeye, said job creation is important. Then he went on to talk about how foreign investors come to the country and they have these meetings. They have all these pictures they take. They talk about all these investments that they're going to make. And then he said, we don't realize much of it. Now, let's go back to the SONA. If you recall, in the SONA, this is what President Buckeye said when he was talking about jobs. He said, job creation remains a top priority for my administration. Our job creation strategy has focused on addressing binding and structural constraints to growth, including investments in road, energy, and other infrastructure. In this connection, we have created more than 70,000 short and medium-term jobs across infrastructure, agriculture, social protection, and small businesses, amongst other sections. So when you listen to what he said, Jefferson, and you listen to the SONA, isn't that totally different?
Yeah, so these are things sometimes Liberians will say um, there are some contradictions many times either in the president's speech or some key government officials because one person will say another thing and then at another point in time there is another thing again being said. So it seems as though there are contradictions in the statements of the president. One time he will say another thing, and then another time he says another thing. So it gets some on the other hand gets Liberians confused as to whether what is the actual thing President Waka is saying, right? So it's just a kind of a confusion amongst in the minds of people. One time another thing is being said, and then the same thing, but then it's being said differently. So it's just a kind of this contradiction.
In the Sona speech, he says that his administration created 70,000 short
70,000
and medium jobs from infrastructure, agriculture, and social protection. Then, when you listen to him at his cabinet meeting, he says that all these foreign investors come take pictures with us, but really they don't create jobs. And he is telling the Liberian people the truth. And this is a problem because it has been 3 years since they have been in the power, the government. 3 years. And they have still not created jobs for the people. So if it's been 3 years, why do we think the next 3 years are going to be any different? Because the same problems are happening, but at least Joseph Boakai is admitting that his administration is having a very difficult time creating jobs in the country. Now I want to play. I asked Mr. Cummings the same question: how are you going to create jobs? And this is what he said. Let me see if I can get this clip to play.
All the people that need job. So people go into government gotta understand that that's not your role. That your role is to create an environment for the private sector to create jobs. So how do you create this environment for the private sector to create jobs, Catherine? In no particular order, you gotta make sure your judiciary is working, the courts, so that people buying land, buying property, if they have business disputes, that is being adjudicated in a fair way, nobody calling the judge. You know them and say, Catherine, I'm a cousin there, even though she not, cheat her partner, but judge in her favor. So you gotta fix your judiciary. You gotta make business registration easy. The last time I checked, for over a year, the business registry, the website was down. You cannot encourage business if those basic things don't work. We gotta make sure for now, we put everything we consume. We gotta make sure getting things into and out of the country through the ports. We gotta make it easy. We gotta get rid of the corruption in the country. You want to start a business, you want to get something approved. Everybody, the hands all they're stopping you. You can't get stuff done. So you gotta fix the corruption. You gotta make the ease of doing business. We gotta review all our regulatory environment, our taxation, and make it easy for the private sector. Then we gotta invest in Liberian businesses. We gotta provide credit, all the way from microcredit, from market women, Ghana boys, etc., all the way to middle-sized and big-sized Liberian business. Provide funding, credit, financing for their loans, for them to invest and grow their businesses. We need to invest in agriculture. Agriculture is a great job creator. The budget this year that it passed, the allocation of agriculture actually went down. 2025 it was 15 million, which was too low. This year it's 13. the average should be something like investment like 10-20% of your budget should be into agriculture, right? And yet, agriculture is the first A in the arrest agenda. But the investments, but agriculture creates jobs, and not just farming. We should be investing in processing, right? Tourism is another job creator. We should be investing because again, we have a lot of low-skilled people. Tourism, teaching people to offer service, you can create a lot of jobs quickly and low-skilled jobs, which is what the country needs, right? Housing is another investment area. Develop a mortgage bank where people can build housing. You encourage the housing industry, you're going to create jobs, right? So these are all examples of the things we need to do to create jobs in our country. Fix the environment, business environment, judicial environment, reduce the stealing, make it easier to import and export, provide loans financing, and then invest in these sectors that are actually job creating sectors. And that's how you begin to grow the economy and create jobs for our people.
So Jefferson, when I listen to Mr. Cummings and I listen to Joseph Buckeye, what I hear is Mr. Cummings has a plan, and he also is talking about all the different things that need to be done to bring jobs. It's not just one thing. There's so many different things that have to be done that in order to create the environment for jobs to come in the country. Whereas when you listen to Joseph Buckeye, what he's complaining about is that he's meeting with investors, but they are not bringing the jobs in the country. He's not giving us solutions. He's not telling us how he's going to do it. He's not telling us what needs to be done. He's just complaining that these investors who they're meeting with, they're taking pictures with, the investors are not bringing the jobs into the country. And so the difference between the two people is that Joseph Buckeye is complaining, or he's pointing out the problem, but Mr. Cummings is providing us with how to fix the problem, the solutions to the problems, the different things that need to be done, the different jobs that need to be done. And so I want you to listen to something else that President Buckeye said at his cabinet meeting.
I feel very reluctant to tell people not to go on trip when we get these letters. I'm sure there are some trips that we can forego, but to move the economy, to create employment, some of the trips we're not going to allow people to go. There are some trips that some of your honor men, like I've said before, can go. So everybody wants, probably sometimes it's not enough. And sometimes people represent you, but you don't believe that they are well represented. So while we are making trips that are extremely necessary, we have to create jobs.
Now, he's saying that these trips that they go, it's the same thing from the first clip, Jefferson. If you listen to him, he's saying the foreigners are coming to the country to take pictures. Now he's saying they went out of the country to travel, and still no jobs have come in the country. You hear that?
Yeah, got it.
The point is that just having foreigners come into the country or going out of the country and visiting people, that's not going to create jobs in Liberia. If you listen to Mr. Cummings, he said there's some things that we have to fix in Liberia. The legal system. There's too much corruption in the legal system. Jefferson, I'm a lawyer. Could I encourage a business like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or could I encourage them to come to Liberia and spend $100 million on a project if, when they go to court, they don't know who's going to win the case? They don't know if the judge is going to rule in their favor or rule for somebody else who's going to pay them off. That's an unknown. It's uncomfortable to be in a situation where you don't know the outcome. It's not based on the contract itself. It's based on relationships. So you get into a bidding war where your lawyer pull you aside and say, look, my man, The judge said, we got to do something. Then they go to the other side. Look, my man, the judge said we got to do something. By the time you look, all kinds of money going back and forth, and the case is not resolved, going on for years and years and years. So instead of dealing with that kind of environment, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these companies will say, look, let's just go somewhere else. At least they have a more reliable legal system. So if you don't clean up the legal system, nobody will want to come to open large businesses or spend, you know, hundreds of thousands or hundreds of millions of dollars, because they would not know if the outcome in court will be based on a contract they sign or based on relationships. The other thing Mr. Cummings talked about is we need to work on the electricity. We need to work on the infrastructure, the roads, all of these things. It makes it very hard for companies to come into the country if the roads are not good, if the infrastructure is not good. So these are certain things that we have to work on in the country for businesses to come in the country. And it just seems like the Unity Party is lost because they don't really know how to bring jobs. It's been 3 years and they still have not gotten it done. I read Verity News said that from 2024 to 2026, the Unity Party has spent $16.5 million on foreign travel. $16.5 million on foreign travel, on hotels, food, air flights. And they haven't brought jobs to the country. It's been 3 years. 3 years. I want to play this last video from the cabinet the cabinet meeting.
Another thing we notice is that the cabinet is a family, and quite often we have programs, and a lot of cabinet ministers are absent. Maybe they think that by discretion they want to come or they don't want to come, but we don't look at it that way. Unless where you don't have the chance to come, but cabinet programs are a must, because if you don't come, then what do we expect to come? For example, the other day we had intentionally had this program for the diplomats, the people that you work with, and we said the diplomats and the cabinet ministers, and we're a little bit disappointed that very few cabinet ministers turned up. We don't want to go into the habit of saying, if you don't come, this will happen. But definitely, we're going to be taking note. The performance record is still been taken. The director of cabinet told me that a lot of people have been reluctant, but this is something we require people to do, because how else do we keep track on what you do? We have to see your performance. We have to see that.
So Jefferson, what do you think about this one?
Well, it's almost like you're in grade school, and your parents will, in order to torture you or to make sure that maybe you score good grades, so they want to bring up a strategy that will make you focus, or maybe let's use this strategy so that But the president said that uh, he will not call you out, call ministers or directors, let you know, about things. But it is just the performance grade sheet. I don't know how effective that is, but if President Boakai must be harsh on his ministers, he has to do even more than that. It is not just about you telling your ministers or your directors, your cabinet ministers about you score A or B, because the Liberian people are not looking at the ministers. Whatever happens, the president, the head of state will be the one to answer to everything. It's not the Liberians are not going to go to the ministers. They're going to the president. The same President Waka failed. So if he must do these things, he has to go beyond, and it is not just about you know telling people about his ministers, what the performance grades and what have you. And so Liberians need job. They need to see the reality. Like you said, 3 years now, and still many Liberians believe that nothing has been done from the reality. They're looking at the job creation, and still nothing has been done with even uh, the managing director Mo Ali making mockery of the Liberian people. I call that mockery, that the 70,000 jobs President Bouaka talked about was he mentioned. He said, in fact, the keke riders and shushan boys and car loaders, those are all jobs creation. That was a form of making mockery out of the young people who supported the regime coming to power, because in fact, these guys were riding bikes, they were riding their keke or tricycles, they were shushan boys all across the city before even President Bouaka came to power. So if they will count that as job creation, it's a form of mockery, it's a slap in the face of the people who went in the slums, in the trenches, were all under the reins, campaigning in making sure that this president comes to power. But it is the other way around, Madam Gibson.
So I like to just give people a chance to see what they can do. But then it becomes obvious if you don't know what you're doing, right? If you hire someone to come and do a job in your house, you watch them, they look around, they're looking around, they're wasting time. You're thinking to yourself, do they really know how to do this thing? Or they just practicing? You give them more time, they're still looking around, they haven't done the job you asked them to do. It becomes, to me, obvious they just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And Unity Party does not know how to fix the problem. They may have all the good intentions. Joseph Buckeye may have all the good intention, but it's not about just getting people who you think can do the job. You yourself, Jefferson, have to know how to bring jobs in the country before you can hire people to do it for you. Joseph Buckeye needs to tell people, just like Sarah Beslow Yanti told I think she testified in the Senate that there was never a plan for economic diplomacy. That she never really had any kind of directive from her boss on how to bring jobs in the country through the foreign ministry. So she is now trying to create that plan herself. That's not how it works. She works for a boss. Her boss is supposed to tell her, this is what I need you to do. I need you to bring these many jobs in 6 months. I'll come back and check on you. This is how I want you to do it. Then she could come back to him and say, President Buckeye, the reason why I can't make my quota is because of electricity, is because of the roads, or it's because of the legal problems in the country. We have to fix those problems. You see? Then you get the Ministry of Justice involved. I need you to stop corruption in your court. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you need to do it because we're hearing of corruption in this court. I need the road from the airport to the port fixed. I need it by this date. come back to me in this many weeks and tell me when you're going to fix the road, when you're going to fix this, when you're going to do this. You know, he has to put his foot down on people and give them a directive. This is what we need done, and come back to me in this much time and tell me what you did or how you've done it. And you have to measure, Jefferson, measure their outcome. You can't just say, I want you to bring jobs. You have to say, I want you to bring 30,000 jobs. And I want you to tell me where those jobs are. And I want you to tell me who all got jobs. That's how you put your foot down on people. But, you know, Joseph Buckeye is an older man. He don't have that energy. He doesn't have, and he doesn't know how to do it. And right now, the Liberian people are suffering every day, losing their homes, I mean, oh my God, people have built homes, put money in their home. You know how much it is to build a home, to buy bricks, to buy
Yeah.
blocks,
A bag of cement, steel rod.
steel rod. How long it takes to put your house together, paint your house, put your plumbing in, your all of that, and then somebody just come and say, knock it down. Knock it down. And that doesn't give you a dime for all of that money you put in it. That's heartless. People are losing their homes all over the place. They're homeless now because of this government, and they're not providing any jobs. So for the next 3 years, I think Liberians are going to have to go through the pain of this administration, because I do not see that they know how to fix the problems in the country. It's just over their head, and it's obvious to me at this point. Um, so you want
Yeah,
to close on this point?
yeah. So yeah, just before we close, I just want to, like you're saying, uh, if people don't know the job, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you. I'll give you a typical example. The Minister of Commerce, you know, sometimes the week before last and last week, I was on the Minister of Commerce here in the morning on our show, and I've been on her that, well, the Ministry of Commerce, they're doing nothing over there. The minister or deputies, the inspector general, they're doing nothing. You don't see them going around inspecting, carrying inspection of expired goods, RPDs, and businesses. So we've talked about that. And then the following week, President Bwaka had his cabinet meetings. And in that meeting, he in fact blasted her. He, pointed her out that according to him, back then in the days, they used to see commerce in stores and shops getting on inspection, but now, and this other minister, what is he doing? So it just occurred to me now. I said, well, President Waka will see this. He knows fully well that this lady is not fit for the job. She's not competent, and yet is keeping her there only to point at her, say you're not doing anything. If someone is not fit for the job, you let them go. There's no sugarcoating about it. Now she came on Monday morning to carry out inspection. Now the same thing we're saying, she does not know how the inspection works, how to carry out inspection, because she would just come ask, for example, I'm for a bag of 25 kg rice, and somebody, the guys there said $14.50, and they're selling it that way. But the rest was $16 for a 25 kg, and it was being sold for $50 per cup. So you buy $16, the retailers, they go and sell it $50. Now it's $14.50, and they're still selling it $50. What is the Commerce Ministry doing about this? So all of those things, President Boaga just said, well, you're not doing, but he's still, let those kind of people, you don't know the job, you let the person go. You can't keep doing the same thing. You're not getting results. That's just why, that's why it occurred to me that
Yeah.
President Boaga, what she is keeping them for what reason? Yeah.
Look, President Buckeye, right now the energy is low. It's a lot to run a country. It's a lot of work. You think about it. You have to keep track of the Ministry of Justice. You have to keep track of the Commerce Ministry. You have to keep track of the ports. You have to keep track
Mhm.
of electricity. It's a lot of work. Do you really think this man? I am not. I'm half his age. I, after the end of the day on Friday, I get tired. Jefferson, can you imagine his age?
Mhm.
Can't keep up with this, and not only that, the world has changed since President Buckeye was in government before. It's much more complicated now. Things have gone on that he is not really able to understand. And I just don't think this is something that he can do to successfully bring Liberia into the future that the world is in right now. We've got AI, we have automation, you have GPS, satellite, all kinds of different new technology now. If I have employees out of the state, Jefferson, I can find out where they are right now by looking at my phone. I can see the GPS where they are, where they're working. When they clock in, they have to be at a certain place to clock in on the time on the to get paid. And when they leave work, they clock out and they have to be at a certain place. The world has changed now. People have so much technology. If you want to know how your employees are doing at work, you can use a lot of technology to find out if they're working, just based on them using their computer or using their phone. You can see if they worked that day or if they didn't work. So there's a lot of ways that people are using now to monitor their employees to see if they're being productive at work. And the government needs to increase the use of technology. That's why Mr. Cummings said we need technology in the country because that will help Liberia to, number one, stop all of the corruption. And
Mhm.
this leads to my next story for the week in review. Did you hear about this one, Jefferson? This gentleman.
Mm.
This is the ombudsman.
Yeah.
Now, the ombudsman is there for what? Ethics in government. He
Yes.
he is
Yeah.
there to make sure that government officials are accountable, they're ethical, they don't break the law, they're not stealing, they're not corrupt. And he has been it says an independent investigative panel recommended the dismissal and criminal prosecution of Councillor Finley Kanga, chairman of the Office of Ombudsman, following findings that he extorted more than $2,000 from his special assistant over 4 months.
Mm.
What?
Mm.
And then he resigned after that.
Yeah.
So in the Unity Party, the ombudsman is even corrupt. I
Mm.
mean, where is the hope for this government? Where is the hope for them? If you can't even hire a person who's gonna follow the law in this office of all offices, it's to me, it's just hopeless. I don't see how this government is going to get it together in the next 3 years. It's almost impossible. They have so much corruption every day in every office. It's like the corruption is so deeply, deeply, deeply embedded in that government. It's impossible for them to function with so much corruption happening every single day in this government. And I mean, he's just one example, but there's been so many examples since they took office, and I just don't see how, Jefferson. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative, but tell me how. Where is the hope for the Unity Party for the next 3 years, Jefferson?
Well, it's a tough question because if these things are happening, and because everyone will say, well, the office of the ombudsman, uh, which is there to check on officials of government who are about the code of conduct. And if that office can be uh, caught up into these scandals, then it raises serious eyebrows. It raises concerns that Liberians will start to wonder, too many things will start pondering in their heads, and questions will be asked. But what is happening with the Unity Party government? People that we believe that, they are even, well, people that we believe that should be persons of integrity, and these things are happening, then it's a serious problem. The hope of the people that they believe in, a government that they believe in, that they thought would have, brought them some level of change. And if these things are happening, then it's a serious concern. One point in time, one of the staffers there at the office of the ombudsman, a very close friend of mine, in sometimes in October, he had this. We had some, conversation, and I'll just review. He said, "Bro, what's up? You guys need to visit the office of the ombudsman. A lot of craziness is happening. We will talk
Mm.
later." Yeah, we will talk later. And then he said, you can even come and see the kind of sample we get as we speak. For the past 3 days, there has been no, current arrival. When you discuss this further, we will talk more and everything. He said, bro, come and monitor the place. When you people come, uh, you leave your press car behind, just like that, and come do some investigation. So, a whole lot has been going on there at the office of the ombudsman. But, well, it is just what it is.
Well, yeah, and this is what has happened. This is the allegation against him. It
Mhm,
says that he demanded 50% of his special assistant's salary, $500 a month between
Francis, yeah, Francis.
April and July. So he he's getting his paycheck and he wants a part of his assistant's paycheck too.
Yeah, 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 exactly. And in fact, this is the guy that, in fact, he and I were very close. Yeah, he was, we were talking back then. Yeah, he and I were having the conversation back then. So every time, in fact, when I want to use it, but I don't want to, let me just hold it. Let me hold it. Just, yeah. He's a very close friend of mine, Francis. So he was, saying this all of this time
And
until we've landed to this day.
so and then he says so this has to be something that is rampant. It's
Mhm,
not a isolated issue. That means that there's a lot of people who work underneath people who are being taxed part of their
mhm,
salaries.
mhm,
And this is a big, big problem. The way how you fix this problem is they have something here called whistleblower statute. And I have a friend in my law school. That's all she does is whistleblower law. So what will happen is this person, your friend, he would report his boss. And if he reports his boss and it's true, he gets money. So it turns it into a situation where if you break the law, there's a incentive for people to turn you in. And that's how whistleblower laws work. And that's what they should really, if they really are serious about removing corruption out of government, they should make it a financial incentive for people to report corrupt people and get money from it.
mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that they will start turning people in left and right. Because that first time, if your friend would have reported him and it came back as true, your friend would have gotten $1,000 reward, and this man would have been fired.
Mm,
That's how you get whistleblower laws. Is how you really get a lot of corruption and theft out of government because if you don't get that corruption and theft out of government, again, it's going to impact the jobs in the country and how the economy and how the environment of the country is viewed by people outside of Liberia. Then he said he was asking him for $30 to $35 a month for phone scratch cards as well.
Hmm.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
This poor man was under this kind of pressure every month to take half his paycheck and buy this man scratch cards.
Whereby his own was just there, and he wasn't even sharing with anyone in office,
Oh my
but he
God.
was demanding. I mean, it is so weird, in fact, that you will have to, yeah, to have to ask your, and it is not just there, even at the, I used to cover the legislature, and so some lawmakers over there, Madam Gibson, it was interesting to note that some lawmakers will, those who are at the legislature, the staffers there, the lawmaker will say, okay, you're here, but your salary, once your money comes, you cut it, you give me half, a portion of it, maybe 25% of your salary, because I have to take care of other people, I have to take care of other things. And I was kind of like, so some of them, they will confide in us and tell us
Mhm.
these things. We don't want it. Yeah, they just tell us these are the things that we go through here, and I'll be like, wow, but I mean, is it compulsory? So they threaten you. If
Right,
you, if, if you don't do it, you lose the job. You go back in the district and sit down there. Somebody will
right,
come, will cooperate, and
right.
it is just so frustrating that people will do. But the thing is, Madam Gibson, it is not that the Whistleblower Act, it cannot be enforced.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot have these laws. It is a very good one, but it's going to be very difficult for this government to do because everybody wants to chop.
Yes.
Everybody wants to chop. They believe that once they try to do it, they start doing it, there will be no eating, no side money coming from anywhere. So they'll be, they said, what's the essence of us, creating this art, enforcing it? Because I mean, money is here. We can use this money and do other things. Go settle our extra activities and let the government or let the country struggle. We use this money, $50 million. We get it. We get a country 25. We did 25. What will happen? Nothing. So it will be very difficult for them to work
Yeah.
with this. And
But they're
this.
missing the big picture, okay?
Yeah.
Because the big picture is if you have a middle class, that means the people on the top move up.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
money that they are stealing is going to be nothing compared to the money that they can actually make in business because these people already have means, so they are going to be the ones to get these larger contracts.
Yes.
They are going to move up, and the lower class is going to move to the middle class,
Mhm.
and then the lower class, the poor people, they'll have something. The disabled people, they'll have a little something to hold them over, at least above the poverty line. But
Mhm.
the stealing is actually taking money from them because they're not able to get real contracts from real companies. Like, for example,
Mhm.
these restaurants like Mamba Point. There's another one right there in Mamba Point Hotel. I think it's the Cape Hotel. Those hotels over there, they're considered to be some of the top hotels in Liberia. The
Yeah.
Royal. So there's some other ones too. Now imagine if you had a upper scale hotel come to Liberia. You see, these hotels, they're not top of the line if you look at it internationally. So if you can get your environment good, more higher level businesses will come into Liberia. These same people who want to chop from somebody $500 a month, these people will be making more money.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, they're short sighted because they're just looking at what they can grab and steal now. But it's really destroying the country. It's really destroying the country. Um, so I think that this situation with the ombudsman that happened this week is not unique. It's happening across the country, like you said, in all the different industries, in the legislature and beyond, chopping people's pay. And it lowers your morale because you go into work, you get your paycheck, and you have to give some of it back to somebody else. It doesn't make you feel good. It really doesn't make you feel good. um so I hope that the country would really think and change this government, because what is happening now is happening all over the government, the Unity Party government, and it's really bringing the country down. So I wanted to jump to this rape march that happened as well this week.
Yeah.
So the youth came out, but they said they were not given a permit to march to I think they were either going to the Capitol or the Executive Mansion. Did you hear about that?
Uh, well, no, I think that was a developing story, but I didn't get to follow it up. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, there was a youth march. Let me see if I can play the sound. There was a march this week. The youth marched, and they said, let's see. So the young people came out, they were chanting, they were walking the streets. They said they applied for a permit. They were not given a permit, and they had to read their petition in the Invincible Park. They were not able to read their petition either at the Executive Mansion or the Capitol.
Wow.
And this is rape. Okay, this was supposed to be something this administration took seriously, that they said that they were going to fight. Where is the government on these rape cases? What is happening? Little boys getting sodomized, young little girls getting taken advantage of. What is going on? What do you see anything from the gender ministry at all trying to tackle this problem and fix this issue, educate the people?
Well, all these things are just, we live in a society now where uh, every incident is always being politicized. Yeah. Um, that's why I always told people, a government that will come to power, a president, there are some institutions, government institutions, you don't appoint politicians there. You need technicians, people who will get the job done. Because if you put a partisan at that particular institution, the whole ministry or that agency will be a political ground. It will be a political institution. Remember the case of a 14-year-old boy that was sodomized by the former uh, 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 deputy
The
minister.
NSA.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and then the one also at youth and sports, the deputy minister for youth development, who sort of, I mean, raped a 14-year-old girl, and then one other one from agriculture who also allegedly raped a the same age in Clarendon. This one is a minister and a friend to the Inspector General of Police. The case was being played with the this that in fact they had to send for, you know, people from Kenya, from abroad to come and carry on autopsy. They got to do this one and what have you. It was, I mean, there was nothing being done about it. But the guy who was, I mean, I think a researcher from the Ministry of Agriculture who allegedly raped a girl from Claret, Vital, in no time that man was sent to South Beach, to prison, whereby a deputy minister of who did the same thing, similar thing,
Mm.
did not go to South Beach. He was
Yeah.
just leaving.
Yeah.
And today they clear him that well they found nothing, the man did not commit, this. Now we're talking about, I mean, young boys, being sodomized, young children,
Yeah.
ages below, but still and these things will happen. There will just be a maybe a single release from the Ministry of Gender on this matter, not stronger and action against those people to press on the government, on the law, the police to do. I mean, go into that, take it seriously, take the matter seriously.
Right.
They will just play with it. By the time they release a statement, it's done. They finish. Nothing about it you will hear from the Ministry of Gender. They just leave it hanging and they're doing their normal businesses. So people will always complain and say, well, the gender ministry is not doing what they're not performing their role. They're not doing what they're supposed to do because there is this party sentiment, being played.
Right.
So yeah, once the person is in the league of the Unity Party, there's not stronger measure, no tougher action will be taken. So it's just the other way around, Madam Gibson.
If people want relief from these type of things, they have to remove this government because they're not able to enforce the laws on rape, on child abuse, on sexual abuse, and um, even sexual harassment on the job. Men doing it to women, women doing it to men. All of these things need to be addressed by the government, with education and also with tough enforcement and making an example of some of these people who are big in government, making an example of them. The other thing that I think hurts the country too is that they don't have the laboratories and the equipment to assess when these crimes happen. For one of these cases, I think they had to wait, take the rape test, and wait for another country to test.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just that's by the time anything laboratory comes back, you know, a good defense attorney would say that the chain of custody has been broken. The time for the testing has gone so far, and there's no way to really authenticate the evidence after it's been through so many different hands, so many different places, and so much time. So one of the things that the government has to do, and that's why we're hoping that there will be a new government, not the Unity Party, not the CDC, some new government to bring in the right equipment, because the police have to be able to investigate these crimes when they happen. When the woman says that she's been raped, they have to take a test right there and collect the sample right then and there. When a boy says he's been sodomized, you have to take the test and take the sample of the biomaterial right then and there and
Mhm.
be able to test it. And there's no Liberians are smart, educated, and very capable of doing all of these things. So why don't we have the right equipment in the country?
Hmm.
The reason is because they're spending $16.5 million going to this country and that country, wasting money, having
Mm-hmm.
all these programs with pictures that are not doing anything, not bringing any jobs into the country. So the waste of all this money is the reason why we don't have the right equipment in the country to be able to test these rape victims or these allegations when they first come in. And one thing about rape is it's something that even though it may happen at one time, it will play on your mind for the rest of your life. Like,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't go away. You have hard time trusting people. You have hard time being certain places. You have hard time being comfortable anymore. It's something that once it's done, it's like it takes a piece of your humanity away from you. It's a tragic crime. It's a tragic crime.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Yeah, it's not only physical, but it's mental, it's psychological. And I listened to one story of a young lady. She was talking about how she was raped by her brother at home, and she ran to her sister's house, and then her sister's husband started to try to take advantage of her too. And when she told her sister got mad at her, and then
Mm.
she just left the house and had nowhere to go. She ended up meeting someone and left the country. But these things happen in life. It's really, really sad. And you know some women, it's like you go apply for a job, and the person who's there working make a comment to you and said, if you want this job, there's certain things you have to do for me. And
Yeah.
then it's like, I just want a job. I don't want to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend. you
Yeah. I
know
know. Of
I don't
course.
I'm not looking for a relationship. I'm looking for a paycheck. That's all. And then if you don't do it, you don't get the job. And so you be taken advantage of. All of
Mm.
this in Liberia is it's hurtful. It's
Mm.
hurtful. It's the system. I, I'll tell you a funny story, Jefferson. I don't know if this is true or not, but when I first got to Liberia, it was during WEA's administration, and the guy
Mm.
was driving me around. Everywhere he go, he would say, "This is George Weah's girlfriend's house up this street. This is his girlfriend." I said, "Wait a minute. What are you taking me on a tour of all of the girlfriends?" You know,
I know.
I don't know if it's true or not, but that at that time, it was all these rumors and stories about just different women in the government who were this person's girlfriend, that person's girlfriend in the government. They
Mm.
were not qualified, and that administration got voted out. I think a lot of it had to do with these rumors. People were angry about this. Why is it all these unqualified people are serving the government? And they were upset. They voted that administration out. Then this administration comes in, and now all you can hear is this person has raped this person, sodomizing boys, and all kinds of stuff. It's like you just took one bad thing and brought in another bad thing. So we really need a different, whole different group of people in government to really fix the country and decide, like, this is not acceptable. We can do better. We can do better.
Yeah.
We can do better.
It's just frustrating. And the sad part of of this whole thing is that you will see, the evidence will be there, clear, and you will see them. But the way the case will be played around, and at the end of the day, nothing comes out of it. It's so frustrating, and that person, the family members of the victim, will just live with the regret and the pain forever. It's so frustrating. It is so frustrating. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they either say, okay, the person, somebody came to pay us off, right? You know, to try to
Yeah.
just be quiet. But if you
Mm,
don't take the money, the government is not going to do anything about it. You know,
mm,
they're not going to pursue the case, especially like you said, if it's somebody that's with influence in the government. Um, you know, so this is a this whole rape situation that the kids are addressing and drawing attention to. I salute them. Um, I salute their efforts. I hope that they vote in 2029 because that's the only real way that we're going to see change in this country. Um, which takes me to the next story. This story is about, her name is Lasana Davidata. What's what's her name? Jefferson.
oh, oh, uh,
Lasana, here she is. Lasana Davidata. I can't remember
David Etta Brown Lasana, the chairperson of NAC.
Davietta. Yes, here she
David Etta
is.
Brown Lasana. Yeah.
Yes. I remember her and all her hairstyles when we were going through all the voting. I used to
Yeah.
be like, what kind of hairstyle is she coming with today?
I know.
So yes, she is the chairperson of NEC.
Mm,
Hmm. And for some strange reason, she has about a year left in her tenure.
mhm, mhm,
But for some strange reason, now she's saying she's ready to call it quits and retire. Just to spend
mhm,
more time with her family.
mhm.
Oh, that's strange.
Of course it is. It is strange.
I mean, what is it that you're doing so much right now? There's no elections going on right now.
Yeah.
So what is it that you is so busy that you have to take time off of work? And it sounds to me like something is cooking in the background.
Mm, mm,
That's what it sounds like.
mm.
So this election 2029 is going to be a big election because you're going to have all of these representatives, senator, and the presidency up, right?
Sure. Sure.
So there's a lot happening this election, lot of seats up, and it sounds to me like the Unity Party is looking to replace her with someone who's going to be loyal to them.
Mm,
And it sounds like this is why she is leaving, and now we have to see who they're going to replace her with.
yeah.
But yeah, have you heard anything about this?
Well, what we, sometimes there were some issues at the National Elections Commission with some staffers raising concern. I think some allegations levied against Madam David Etta Brown Lasana, and she was relieved of sometimes suspended by the
Right.
president, and then later on he lifted the suspension, and after that, here we are today. In fact, it is like the question you asked. Everyone is wondering. The question is, in fact, she even gave a specific date that on the 15th she will be stepping down. Right? Why is it that she could have just written a letter to the president and say, I don't need the job anymore, instead of saying, on the 15th I will step down. So what is behind her, I mean, resignation as chairperson when the position she's serving in is a tenure position? She still has a year She could have just remained. We don't know. But then another conversation behind is that, well, we've been hearing President Puaka, you know, wants to replace the Madam Deviata Brown Lasana. He wants to bring in a new person. So when the news of her resignation came out, we started again hearing that the president wants to replace her with the former Chief Justice, Madam Gloria Moses Scott. Uh, Madam Gloria Moses Scott, who was involved into the murder case of
Right.
Charlotte Musu. And so when she was incarcerated, sentenced to prison by the CDC administration, when the Unity Party government just took over in no time, the first major case
Mm-hmm.
was to remove, yes, to release, to bring the case back, reawaken the case, and then we saw her release, and she was being set free from the case that she had no
Right.
part to play in it. Now the name is surfacing, is around, lingering that she is the possible replacer for Madam Brown Lasana as chairperson. So Liberians are questioning, what if that lady goes over there as chairperson of the elections commission? Then in fact, people are saying it's going to be maybe the Unity Party will have a free ride because their confidant, one of their confidants, is now there as chairperson. Then other people are saying on the other side, no, that can't be because Liberians' eyes are open. They're seeing the reality with the government. So there's nothing the Unity Party can do in 2029 if they are thinking about stealing the elections. There's nothing they can do. Even they can put whoever there, but Liberians will be the one to decide to see to that on the 20. I mean, 2029 they will
Right.
tell the actual results, but it's not one person who's going to decide the fate of the Liberian people. So the name Madame Gloria Mususcat name is I mean, is now one of the names that we're hearing that could possibly replace the current chairperson.
Right. Well, we will be watching that story next week to see. I think she says she's stepping down next week.
On Sunday, on the 15th.
Oh, on the
Yeah.
15th. So she'll be stepping down March 15th. So we will have a replacement named soon. So we are going to, yep. Mm-hmm. We are going to be watching for that. Um, and that should be, an interesting development because NEC is going to be a very important job when the election time comes. All eyes will be on NEC and how they conduct the elections.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
yep, so we'll be watching that. And then another big story for the week that came up was this issue of the diaspora sending in a petition. This was reported by Front Page Africa. The diaspora sent in a petition to vote at the embassies in the diaspora. So instead of flying to Liberia, because in order to vote, you have to register. I think you have to
Yeah.
register in like March or April. It depends on what county you're in.
Yeah.
And then you vote in October or November.
October.
October, yeah. So that means you will have to fly to Liberia to register, then go home, then fly back to vote.
Yeah.
What?
That's how, yeah, that's how it's been. You see, you come if you want to take part in elections, you come down, register in March, and then you go back. You wait October 10. You come ahead of October 10, and then you vote. If there is a second round, either you wait or you go back. You come
Oh,
back in November. Yeah.
then you have the second round.
Yes.
That's
If it
another
is.
thing. So
Yeah.
I did a little bit of research there's a lot of countries that allow for their citizens to vote
mm,
in the embassies. Even in Africa, you have Algeria, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Botswana,
mm,
Papua New Guinea, Chad, Rwanda, Mozambique, Tunisia, Cameroon, Morocco,
mm,
Kenya. So there's those are just the African countries now. Or South Sudan. There's so many different countries that allow voting um, for um, diaspora people that are outside of the country to vote in the country. I know the United States does. You can vote by mail. You can vote, send your mail-in ballots.
mm.
Um, so I don't know if I said Senegal, but they also in Namibia. So there's a lot of countries that allow this. This is not anything unique. Um, a lot of countries do it, and it's good for the country
Mm,
to encourage more democracy. I think certain people are not going to want to do it because they're going to feel as if other candidates will benefit more than them.
mm,
So they may not want to pass it, but I think it's a good thing. It would allow Liberians from all over the world to participate in the vote as long as it's done in a fair way, in a where they don't can't cheat by saying different people are voting. I think it should.
yeah.
I think they should allow it. Now whether or not they're going to pass it, I don't know. I don't. I
Mm,
don't think the Unity Party will feel that it will benefit them. But they do have a lot of support now in the diaspora. They have a lot of
mm,
groups that support them. So we'll see. I don't know if that's going to pass, but we're gonna watch this story as well on Liberia Future TV to see what happens and where it's gonna go.
mm.
Um, have you heard anything about that, Jefferson?
Well, it has been some discussions, right? In fact, because many Liberians now in the diaspora, uh, a friend of mine, Eric Purvis, he himself has talked about this. They feel left out of the process in Liberia because not every Liberian, the population out there is huge. Yeah, not just in the US, but other countries. They in
Mm-hmm.
Ghana, they in South Africa, where Liberia has embassies. There are Liberians living there. They want to come back, participate. The only participation that they make is during on social media campaign time. Having podcasts and what have you. But they want to be part of the process wherein they can also cast their ballot for their candidates. So they're saying, well, it's a good. There's a need that at least the government allows this, or there be this at least privilege given to them that they could be able to vote out there, online voting, and so just vote at the embassy, and
Mm-hmm.
your votes their votes will be counted as well. So that's what they're praying for. But well, we don't know whether it's going to happen under this administration. They're going to allow that to say, okay, let's pass that into law, and let's see how it is. But we hope and pray that, well, it works.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We will see. What happens. We'll be watching that story too. Um, and this week was, I think, to me, the first time in a long time that security, national security, became a huge and major issue in Liberia. We've been talking about a lot of the domestic issues in Liberia, but national security and the border issue just, I mean, it took up um, a lot of airwaves this week when the Guinean soldiers came to the uh, border in Foya and put their flag up. And, the president still has not come out and talk about it publicly. He's
Mm,
not made a statement. He's
mm,
not addressed the nation on the issue. We still really don't know what happened and why it happened. And the government hasn't given us much answers. We started out the week where the Guinean soldiers crossed and put their flag up, and then these young people in the town approached them, and there was a back and forth, and then the Guinean soldiers took their flag down, and then the Liberians hoisted their flag back up.
mhm,
And while they were doing it, they sang the national anthem, which was so patriotic, and
mm,
it really made people remember why they love Liberia. I mean, it was a patriotic moment, and it was a moment of bravery for them. Um, but then they felt alone because there was no one there. There was no security around. There was no uh, immigration or uh, army or military or any kind of national security in close proximity to that area. So the next day they were there standing pretty much by themselves. And then there was a call, and I heard someone come out there. He said, we came from Monrovia." He said, "We came from Monrovia, so we are here now." I think the police started to come out there too to try to
yeah,
keep the peace. So there was local police who had responded, but Jefferson, it
mhm,
really highlighted the fact that this government is not prepared on a national security level to protect the borders of Liberia.
mm.
That's what it showed.
Yeah, and these are things that we've talked. You know, we started this discussion with this whole trafficking of drugs into Liberia, that our borders are weak,
Right.
our borders are empty. Because if in a country like Liberia, if you have a, I mean, all of your borders, if you have stronger security measures being put in place, you will not, you know, experience these things. You wouldn't see these things happening. Uh, but every time you hear, I mean, huge consignment of drugs coming into the country, where do they pass? Through our entry points, either the airport or the Sierra Leonean border, like the Buwater side, or maybe, you know, Kanta to Guinea border. And so it's just around security. A country with a population of 5.8 million now, Liberia, that just has security. I mean, the army of 2,000, now 2,100 men. I mean,
Mm-mm.
that's a minute portion.
Mm-mm.
It's just a little, because I mean, so if you say you take, okay, how many men will you send to Water side? How many will you send to Ganta, Guinea Boro, to Lofa, and that area, and that particular place, that Solomba port of entry there between Foya and Guinea, the Makona River there, it has been a vulnerable, entry point for a long period of time. It's just the citizens who are always over there, been, taking care, making sure that their eyes are over there. I mean, should we allow these kinds of high security, matters to arise before we take action? Should we
Right.
allow our entry points to be vulnerable when things happen? I mean, before we take actions? I mean, this is it shouldn't be. Government should be proactive. Government should be
Right.
far-sighted to look ahead, just because we don't want an instance where, okay, let's take for example, just in case, thank God it didn't happen. These guys, they have come in with heavy artilleries, machineries. They've come in with different intentions, but now we would have been saying different thing in Liberia. It
Right.
would have been a whole different story, because the place was empty. The guy felt that, well, maybe nobody, no security here. The people, they don't have army, immigration, their border patrols are not here. So we could just go across the river there and just take that land and claim it. And they were
Right.
successful, right? They were successful. They came in a canoe, and their guys have weapons. They crossed, and the young people who were standing back, they started to throw stones at them, throw some sticks at them, but they still came and they planted their pole and hosted their flag. I mean, it was. I see this as dead on arrival from the government, angle, that the young people of Lofa, which was a very risky one, Madam Gipsy, it
Right.
was risky for those young people who were, just trying to do what state security government could have done a long time, could have avoided. What if those guys who came in from Guinea with weapons, and then the young people were there resisting? What if they are open fire
Right.
on them? We would have been sitting here talking this. And yes, people say, okay, we should use the diplomatic means. Yes, which is good, but we should avoid these kinds of situation, that things will happen before. Now, I told somebody, the president stated on radio that the project in Foya, in Lofa, he did not know about it. It was ongoing, and he got to know. In fact, if he had been in the know, he would not have allowed it. Maybe he would have told them different thing. So it tells me, you sit in a country, you don't know what's going on. People coming encroaching on your land and your property. Somebody enters your house, take a bedroom there, sleeping there, and you still saying you don't know anything about it, and the person bringing in people. So it's just for government to be fast.
Is my internet or is that Jefferson's internet? Yeah, so I think we have, after going through this week, maybe Jefferson will come back to join us. After going through this week, we have
I feel very
a theme going on. Um, it's an ongoing theme that we keep hearing over and over and over again. Every time we go through one topic after another topic after another topic, when we cover the cabinet meetings, the topic, the issue, the theme that we heard was they just don't know how to fix the problem to bring jobs in the country. They don't know how to fix the problem. They know there's a problem. They express that there's a problem, but they don't know how to fix the problem. They don't have the solutions and they don't have the way to implement the solutions. Um, we talk about it with the ombudsman. Again, they know there's a problem, but this is an ongoing problem and they haven't figured out how to fix the problem. We talk about rape and the enforcement of rape. They know there's a problem, still they don't know how to fix the problem. And now we're talking about national security. National security is, Jefferson, you back? National security is something that is required for any country uh, to have. And it's very important. It's,
Yeah.
it is very important. It's the number one job of a government is to protect the borders,
Mm-hmm.
to protect the people from outside incursions. Even if you might be a smaller country, you can still have things in place to deter these type of things from happening. But go ahead, Jefferson. You were in the middle of what you were saying, and then it looks like the
Yeah.
internet went down.
Yeah. As I was saying, uh, government should be, you know, into this. We cannot have a situation arising before we start to take actions. What these guys, why if they are come from different countries, and just passing through, finding means to come, and this is how war comes in a country, and you see people running hectare scatter, and this. So this government was talking about uh, recruiting at the end of every year 600 men to join the military. But the military is challenged. You into security, the budget is low. Somebody is leaving Monrovia here to go to Guinea, or Lofa, to go Grand Jide, to go Nimba, Waterside, and leave your family here. And the salary is 150, 175, 140, 200. What I mean, how do you expect that man to support himself and his family back home? So it is just a serious challenge for the military. Now you're adding it up, but there's no support. We don't have logistical support for our military here. You check the army, even the barracks. Just we Kia Radio is here. The barrack is just right before us. I mean, you don't even see if they tell you that this is a barrack. Yes, it is. Everybody knows that it's a barrack, but you wouldn't believe that it is a military barrack because in what I know, when you see a military barrack, you don't need a rocket scientist to tell you that this is a military barrack. The equipment there will tell you that yes, but Armed Forces Day, like this going Armed Forces Day. I mean, normally we see the military when they're parading, you see their equipment, the trucks, and what have you. But we don't have, ammo tanks. We don't have these heavy machine guns. So what if Guinea had just come with different intention? What would have happened? But it's just unfortunate. I say we just here by the grace of God.
Yes. When I went to Liberia, I was sitting with my friend, and she said the same thing. She said, "Kat," she said, "We are here by the grace of God, whether it's the medical conditions,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is, we are here by the grace of God." In Liberian Future TV, we on our Facebook page, we've published a story that says Alexander Cummings solutions on stemming inflow of drugs and warnings of mismanagement of the national budget is a prescient revelation for the failure of Liberian government on border security. So what we published was, there was a Mr. Cummings was talking about the border, but he was talking about drugs. And he said that in order to stop the drug problem, that we have to fight the supply of drugs coming into the country. And to
Sure.
do that, we will have to strengthen our borders.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about training and equipping security personnel and enhancing technology,
Mm-hmm.
building ports of entry and
Mm-hmm.
territory delineation infrastructure. So that means big words, but that means some places you can put fencing, some places you can put, physical structure in order to say this is the Liberian border right here. Some places you can put signs, you're entering Liberia or this is Liberia. Some places you can put scanners or you can have drones flying. Some places you can have people having rotations, like, you know, they would monitor this mile or these 3 miles or these 5 miles, ever so often. And then some places you can have, set up a actually entry where
Mm,
you come in the country and you get checked, your ID gets checked. This is a official entry to Liberia. Um, and so all of these ways you can help to monitor the inflow of whatever is coming in the country, whoever is coming in the country. But to have such a porous border like this and not have any protection at all, and then you have to wait for the military to come all the way from Monrovia to get there, there should be strategic placement of soldiers throughout the country so that
mm,
they can get to certain locations quickly. Um, and all of this requires planning, it requires thoughtfulness. But the other thing Mr. Cummings talked about in his interview was that there was a lot of mismanagement and misappropriation of the Liberian budget. And because of the money that is not available, there's no way that they can protect the country because they spend $50 million a year just in the legislature's salaries,
mm-hmm.
$2 million on NSA budget, and then we talk about the $16 million traveling back and forth
Mm.
that didn't create any jobs. All of this mismanagement of money, take that together with them, not doing the things they're supposed to do at the border, and Liberia is really vulnerable security wise.
Mm. Yeah, we are totally vulnerable. In terms of security, Liberia is way behind. We're far, far, far. There's nothing, and I mean, we're just far. We're not even close to Guinea. Like other people were saying, oh, Guinea, Liberia army, Guinea has more men, but Liberia has strategies. It's not about strategies. It is about the people because we've some of us we've experienced war. I experienced the 1990 war. I saw what happened. Imagine, Madam Gibson, I was little, but I can still remember this, and the picture is still there. That because at my age now, I take him as a little boy. This small boy, like my mom is saying, please let me go inside and get my son's clothes. And he's there. If you enter that house, I will shoot you.
Mm,
I can still picture that particular
right.
moment. Yes, in Firestone. I can remember we were in Division 6. I can still remember that. So if Guinea that has, I mean, 15,000 to that number of troops, and we still here in Liberia with just 2,000 men, we can pray for this. Yes, about strategies, we are guerrilla warfare. What we pray for is that we have a government that will strengthen our border, invest more, I mean, add more money into security, go outside lobby and for more equipment, more logistics for the army. You train them and then you add the salaries up, go to the various ports, port of entries, and in out of, I mean, get a system in place where you have to track. Let Mr. Kumi say, and I'll talk about it, George. Look, if we have all of our borders, our entry points, if we have stronger security measures, we not have drugs coming in. Look at why every time bull waterside drugs, and there's one bull waterside drugs always coming from over there. Why every time two bull waterside? It's because, I mean, the system is not that equipped. So you always have these entry points in very weak. Border patrol guys, yes, they're doing their best, but more need to be done, and the government will have to do more.
Yeah, it's definitely it was an eye opener because we normally talk about the bread and butter issue. We don't really talk about national security, but Guinea in this situation has opened the eyes of the government. Now they have to do something. They're going to have to find out a better way to protect the borders. And as we said, it has to do with drugs. That's what Mr. Cummings was talking about. He was talking about protecting the borders to stop the inflow of drugs. But there's a lot of other things that come in the border: illegal workers, illegal mining, all kinds of things that are happening. People are cutting down trees illegally, coming through the border all the time. So all of these things we really need to get a hold on, and we have to protect our borders. We have to change the way we are spending money, and we need a better system. And that's why we are saying this next election, 2029, vote for Mr. Cummings. Let him change this way how this government works, because there's a lot to do and it can be done, but it's just not happening under this unity party government. Before we try the phone lines, we have one more story of the week. Jefferson.
Yeah.
This thing is on fire on social media.
Mm-hmm.
We started out yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, early in the morning. Sam Jackson posted on his Facebook page. He was posting that his wife was sick.
Mm-hmm.
He started to post saying that he tried to get an ambulance for her and it wasn't working.
Mm.
So he said he couldn't find an ambulance um, in my country, 2 places. Ambulance is down in the garage. Only God can help this woman. I'm just calm. God, we need a miracle. Can't fly her out until she's stable. So
Yeah.
this happened you know, a day ago.
Yeah.
And then he said, he posted again, my greatest appreciation to all of the well wishers. We are not out of danger yet. We need your prayers. God bless and keep us all.
Mm-hmm.
And then about say 6 hours later, he posted, my wife didn't make it. I just said my final goodbye. God knows best.
Mm.
Now, uh, Sam Jackson knew my father when he was alive. Uh, and he lived in New York. We lived in New York, so they knew each other. Um, and so I used to watch his posts a lot. He would post a lot about his wife, and post their trips, their vacations together, places they went together. So it was very sad because it had me thinking about the medical condition in the country. Not having hospital care available, not having ambulance. And I was thinking about all of this earlier this morning as I was headed to work. Just just so unfortunate. Um and then there was a twist in the story. Later on, Sam Jackson posted that the police was at his house, and he
Mm-hmm.
put them on video,
Yeah.
and said the Gestapo is in my yard. They're here to harass me. I'm trying my wife has just died, and they're here to harass me. And he said, I'm ready to go to jail. I got my toothbrush with me. They're
Yeah.
here to harass me. And so then after that, we had an interview where he was on Spoon TV, and in that interview on Spoon, one of the reporters asked him, how did his wife die? Now, as a lawyer, Jefferson, I would never ask my client to speak after someone has just died. The emotion that is involved, where you're grieving, where you're sad, you could say things that you don't mean to say. It's just never a good idea to speak about these type of things right after. But he did. He started talking to the reporter, and he said, when I came in and I went in the room, I saw my wife lying in a pool of blood. He said, yesterday he was at a radio program, OKFM.
Yeah.
He told his wife he was going to come back and take her shopping because there was a wedding today, which is Saturday or Friday. Yeah, I guess it would have been Friday or Saturday. So he said he was going to take her shopping because she wanted to buy something for the wedding. But he came back. He said he told the cook to go and knock on the door. And he said she was probably sleeping or something like that. Then he said, when I came in and went in the room, I saw my wife lying in a pool of blood, fully unconscious or semi-conscious. And then he said she was totally naked.
Yeah.
So they had to put clothes on her and take her to a Catholic hospital. Before he started the story, he said, my wife has a condition, a well-documented condition that she suffers from seizures. Right? And then he said they did tests on her and found that she had a brain injury, probably from a fall where she hit her head. And then he started talking about that the police went in and started to view her body without his permission. They should have asked him because he would have had his own experts present at the time. So, Jefferson, right there, this was way too much for him to have gone into at this moment in time. We say you have the right to remain silent for a reason. Use your right to remain silent. This is definitely not something that he should have been talking to the press about. And now, from this account that he has given, where he talked about the fact that she has a well-documented seizure history, that she was at home, that she was naked, that she was out. The police are investigating him, it looks like. And there's all kinds of pictures circulating now on the internet that look more like issues of domestic violence. These are all unconfirmed. But this story is quickly developing. And it's something that we at Liberia Future TV, we have to keep an eye on.
Yeah, it is. It is, and from all indications, several posts being made from different media outlets as well regarding this particular incident. Like you said, every one of us, if I was going to follow up the story to know, because images that are coming out showing several bruises on the late wife of Sam Jackson. So and today I saw his live podcast with police barricading his compound and as well. And like you said, yes, I think he should have just waited. If he had his lawyer, could have just told him not to speak now to the matter until maybe at a later, you know, date. But well, he spoke, and that is it. But the images that we're looking at can't say anything until further. Yeah, so far
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah, it's definitely a story that we're keeping an eye on. Sam Jackson is a very well known figure in Liberian history. He has, wow, a long, long history
Mm.
in Liberian politics. He is an outspoken critic of the Unity Party government. And he has now taken a position as an advocate, I think, for the CMC party.
Yeah,
Um, and he is constantly on social media,
yeah,
constantly on social media. He has a lot of posts on social media. And so the story started out one way where people were saying sorry, so sorry about your loss. And then all of a sudden, it turned from so sorry about your loss to what else has been going on? What else is going on? So we're watching this story. Of course, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. We do not know what happened. There's an investigation going on. There's no way to really just validate, verify, what happens on the internet nowadays. So much can happen that you don't know if it's true or not. So we just have to be very careful about how we are reporting this story.
mm,
But um, it's taking a quick turn. It's taking a quick turn.
yeah,
Um, my question though is, there's a lot of public photographs of her all over the place. I didn't, we don't see any of these bruises and marks in the photographs you know that are published. But now all of a sudden we're getting all these different photographs of all of these bruises and all of that kind of thing. So we will see. We wait to hear what all is going to happen. So I don't know if there's anyone up in Liberia this time of night. We can try. We can check Jefferson.
yeah, yeah. Maybe we'll try. We'll
Maybe
take
we'll try.
maybe one or two calls in the next 7 minutes.
Yeah.
You're there. We've talked. We've highlighted various topics, talking points during the week. The last is the same Samuel Jackson's case that is up. Well, we don't want to jump the gun on that. But if you want to weigh in, 0777 959 959 0777 959 959 0881 871 670, and you're using the internet, maybe WhatsApp, you can call us plus 231 777 959 959. This is Liberia News Weekend Review here, LRB Future TV on Care Radio 95.9. A late night program that comes on here. So maybe you're listening, you've been following, you're in Liberia or you're outside, you're watching us as well. You have, we talk about the Lofa case, our border needs to be strengthened. We talk too many things as well, other related matters, security, trade and commerce, President Walker's cabinet meeting as well, giving ministers second chance, his travels and what have you. What is it that you also want to talk about? Let's get this person on the line here. Uh, Good morning. Good morning. You're live. Your name and where you join us from?
My name is Johnson
Okay, Mr. Colley, welcome.
Yeah, you see, the day they are speaking on the radio,
Mm.
they are called shut up, what?
No, 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 no. You have. I will not. In fact, you do that again, I will suspend you from calling on this radio. We don't accept that. You have to be very polite, be very moderate when you're talking to people on the radio, even off the radio. 0777959 0777959 We're talking Liberia, the progress of Liberia, the state of the nation. We also talk about Madam David Edward Brown Lasana's resignation that is coming up on Sunday, March 15th. Any of these you want to talk about in the next 4 minutes, you can do that as we, uh, wrap up. Madam Gibson,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's up to you.
Okay. So, we covered a lot this week, went over all of the different topics of the week. Cabinet meeting, the ombudsman.
Can I squeeze this person in, Madam Gibson?
Yes.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, how you doing?
We're doing good. Your name and where you join us from?
Coffee Poor, I'm joining you guys from Bombing Country.
From Bombing County. Let's hear you. Hello. Okay, I think he left. Good morning.
Good morning, Chief. How you doing?
We're doing good. Let's hear you. Your name and where you call from?
My name is Iris Imalo Peterson, calling us so
Go ahead.
This is my ticket on the lens at all. And I was somewhere just for the loss of the wife.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay. All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
You're live. Your name and where you join us from? From District 17, Mohammed. Go ahead.
So the community got to free. Okay, the way that I was here, so think about it, we to have Malaysia, we got Neta, Kawaka, the Malaysia was to be all the different, the big part was there. Why they can't be government and empower the Malaysia there? As the way they used to do, that was going and I was the age of 20. They need to go and have foster for people to know that you got to go in that or anything in the power, you are going to defend the country for nothing like that. And what the money they think that they do, nothing, I think that money there. I will also come out and go there for the country. That's what I was saying yesterday on the radio that we are already with that. Going to Burkina Faso and go and getting that people happy. So when you want to actually happy, I'm everything. So no security will not go for government and get up better security, man. People not there for us.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm guessing to almost time.
Yes.
Government, I'll give up better security.
Yeah, we're gonna do this weekend review on Fridays, the late nights. If you all come back, hang out with me every Friday. We'll go over the whole week, all the stories from the week, and go over them and look to the week ahead. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy yourself. We'll be back LIB Future TV next week. Our host will be here on Monday through Thursday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And I have the late shift, 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on Friday. So love you all and have a good weekend. We'll see you next week.
Okay. All right.
LIB, stand up.
LIB Future TV, giving voice to progressive Liberians, speaking about politics, entertainment, and local news.